Good morning and welcome to Face the Nation. We begin today with President Trump's attorney, Rudy Giuliani, who joins us from our New York Broadcast Center this morning. Happy Father's Day to you.
Thank you very, very much.
I want to start off with a report. Roger Stone, a friend of President Trump's, has told the Washington Post that during the campaign, he met with a Russian who was offering him damaging information on Hillary Clinton. This is now the 11th campaign associate to reveal some kind of contact with Russia. How is this not an attempt at collusion?
Well, how is it? That you have to read the rest of it. Roger Stone apparently met with him. I don't know. I haven't talked to Roger. He's never talked to the president about it. So where's the collusion? And he said it was a waste of time. So, yeah, sure, there was contact, as there was in that meeting. But that meeting led to nothing. This led to nothing. So, if anything, it's proof there was no collusion. And I think if you ever were to see the reports done by all those highly biased agents and prosecutors, and Mueller, I mean, Mueller has no evidence of collusion. How about this? There was none. The President of the United States did nothing wrong. He was not involved with Russians. They can investigate from here to Timbuktu, and they're not going to find a darn thing.
Just to clarify what you said, the president told you that Roger Stone never spoke to him about this meeting?
No, I haven't had a chance to talk to him yet about it. I'm sure he didn't.
Because you said the president didn't know anything about it.
President doesn't know a darn thing about Russian collusion from Roger Stone, from anybody else. And I would suspect he never talked to the president about it because it's quoted in the Washington Post. I can't even understand why they're running the story. That nothing came of this, that it was, I think he said, quote, a waste of time, close quote.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I want to ask you, you mentioned the special counsel, Robert Mueller. He has now indicted 20 individuals. There are 5 people who are now cooperating with authorities here. Do you see any limit on the president's power to pardon either now or in the future with some of these indictments?
Well, I see a practical thing now. He shouldn't do it. It's investigation still there. There are a lot of troubling unethical behaviors and some illegal behaviors with regard to what came out with Inspector General Horowitz. There's that whole issue of what,
you're talking about that's a Hillary Clinton email investigation. That's separate
well, also,
from this.
Actually, I'm more concerned about the genesis of that. From that came the Russian probe, and that Russian probe is highly suspect because Strauss started it. He was switched from Hillary to that. He stayed with it until a year ago, where he was heavily involved with it, and he was engaged in clearly very, very suspicious activity. These strange conversations about how he was going to stop Trump, he was going to get him out of the White House. They seemed not be able to do it earlier, so who's to say that this wasn't a part of that effort? That needs to be investigated.
Well, he is no longer a part of the Mueller probe, and according to the House Oversight Chairman Trey Gowdy, they are pushing for more information on that. He was one of 5 individuals outlined in this IG report as potentially facing disciplinary action. Are you calling for something sharper than that?
Oh, yeah, you're darn right. Disciplinary action when he's making comments like that, not part of the probe. He started it. He was with it for its first couple of months. Mueller kept him on. So how much did he infect that probe with his own very, very extreme positions? I don't know, but I sure want to find out before I go forward. I mean, this is a case where it's crying out for someone to investigate the investigators.
What does that mean?
What that means is there should be a full and complete IG report and grand jury investigation of what happened here after it became the Russia probe. What was the purpose of it? What did they gather? I would really like to know what they gathered, because I think they will have gathered the same things that the Washington Post desperately is trying to regurgitate, which is no collusion by the president with any Russians. All these things were dead ends. The Stone thing is a dead end the minute Stone says it's a waste of time, didn't use the information. Even if he did, I don't know what that would mean, but he didn't. So I'd like that all fleshed out. And then I'd like to see who's really at fault here for this investigation, which has now consumed over $20 million of the taxpayers' funds.
Well, you've said now July 4th is when you expect to have a decision on whether the president will sit for an interview with the special counsel. Why are you dragging it out? Don't you know what you want to do now?
Yeah, sure, I do. I don't want to do it.
You don't want to do it, but you think by July 4th the president might change his mind?
Well, the president wants to do it. So we have to sort through it. We owe him a presentation of something that the special counsel may or may not offer, which gets to the point here. The only delay that we are responsible for, and they're responsible about 3 months of delays, was due to the summit, because I couldn't possibly justify troubling the president when he was working on peace with North Korea.
But what do you mean? What's something the special counsel may or may not offer? What kind? What would this look like?
We are in rather sensitive negotiations with them, and for this I will commend them, because they kept an open mind to this. That there might be a narrow area that we could all agree on. It would be helpful. That unfortunately is a little bit now put in question, because I'm not sure we can possibly recommend being questioned until we know how badly is this investigation infected by what Stroh's did at the beginning when he was with Mueller for so long.
There's a hearing June 25th on that, so couldn't you get an answer still by July 4th? And what would that interview look like? Do you want a 4-hour Bill Clinton type interview, something at the White House, something on tape? Like, what is it that you're negotiating?
I don't mind pointing that. First of all, we could get enough facts about what happened before to make a decision about this. If we did have it, we'd like it to be, basically. Obviously, what we really like is something in writing, responded to in writing, and it can be under oath, as it was with Ronald Reagan over Iran-gate, I think that was. However, the Clinton model is not in a grand jury. I think that was audio recorded and tape recorded. I think we've already agreed that it should be just audio recorded, and then we would limit it. We would like to see it limited to some specific questions about the heart of the probe, which is, and it has become even more the heart of the probe, the Russian alleged collusion. We think that those questions could be answered quickly. I don't know, we think 2 hours, they probably think 4, so let's settle at 3. That's the way you do a negotiation, in good faith, and in this area they have been in good faith.
And are you leaning towards saying, I mean, are these details going to change your mind? You said you don't want to do it, but it sounds like you're actually talking about the honestly, how and the when.
I can't answer that question, nor can Jay Sekulow and Marty and Jane Raskin, until we know the answers to that question. How much was it infected by what was done by Stroh's at the beginning? It may be that he did some bad things, but it really didn't infect the investigation. Mm-hmm. Maybe he did some bad things and it left some things there that really tainted, so that he would never have to be questioned, that anything they did would be illegitimate. So as a lawyer, not for political purposes, as a lawyer, I can't imagine if I recommended that the president testify and it turns out that a judge finds that Mueller didn't have proper authority. Mm-hmm.
You're calling into question his authority, but I want to ask you on another topic here, because you are an attorney. Do you agree with Attorney General Jeff Sessions' decision on how to implement border security, this policy of separating parents from their children when they enter the country illegally?
Oh, you know, honestly, I know Jeff really, really well, and I think he's, in certain respects did a great job, and in some respects, I'm sort of disappointed in him. But here, I don't think I should get involved in that, because, look, I will have those. You've talked about other
policy issues before.
Oh, I sure have, but this is one I've been unattached to for about a year and a half. I'm much closer to the Iran situation, probably more than anything else, North Korea to some extent. This one I'm not that involved in. I mean, it seems to me they've got a good...
Has the White House given you authority to speak on those issues?
No, they haven't stopped me from it. Oh. I mean, I'm a private citizen, so I'm not binding the White House. I'll give you my view as a private citizen and somebody who enforced the immigration law for years. It seems to me this all gets resolved if they do some kind of comprehensive bill. Mm. And the administration is doing something not terribly dissimilar to what Bush and what Obama were forced to do, because Congress wouldn't act. Now, maybe this administration is doing it more thoroughly. I don't like to see, and I know President Trump doesn't like to see, children taken away from their parents.
Yeah.
I also don't like to see America victimized by a lot of people who are doing it for pure manipulation to get bad people here.
Well, we're going to talk about what you just called for there in terms of comprehensive immigration reform and the prospects of that with our next guest. But we'd love to have you. We'd love to have you back on, sir, to talk more about all of these issues.
Well, I'm a big supporter of comprehensive immigration reform, including, now I know I'm going to have a lot of bad letters after this, including a path to citizenship. I helped to author Simpson-Mazzoli under Ronald Reagan, and I know it had a lot of problems, but I think they can be solved by Senator Graham and by the White House. And I think here, Jeff is not giving the president the best advice.